And welcome back to Sports the NEMO Way, our first baseball episode. We will be discussing, the greatest catchers of all time in this episode. We are going to start our baseball off with us bringing the three greatest players at each position, is what we were doing with these baseball episodes. So today will be catcher, and each of us has brought a list of who we think are the three greatest catchers of all time, and we will introduce them like similar to the way we did the football episodes, and then we will discuss and try to come up with a consensus of who the three greatest catchers of all time are. So, to start things off, I will kick to Drew to ask him who the third greatest catcher of all time is in his opinion.
All right, my third catcher is Gary Carter.
Gary Carter, one of the guys I considered but did not make my list.
Yeah, I was just looking at it, and he seemed like a well-rounded catcher, I think, to put at number 3. He's got 1 ring, which he won with the Mets. He's got 11 All-Stars, which I thought was weird when we did the NBA and NFL. They had like the All-NBA team and the All-Pro team. The MLB doesn't have that. It's just the All-Star.
Yeah.
So it was just different, something different. So we kind of got, I don't know, All-Star appearances. If you make a name for yourself, you could be there till you retire. So, I mean, we just got to watch that, I think, for some people. And then he's got 3 Gold Gloves, 5 Silver Sluggers. He's got 2,000 hits, 324 home runs, and his batting average is .262, which I think that's pretty low for all the catchers we're going to talk about tonight. But he's got 2,000 hits and 300 home runs, so I thought he was a pretty well-rounded catcher.
That's really pretty good for a lot of catchers. A lot of catchers don't accumulate a ton of home runs and hits to be complete. I mean, obviously, some of the 3 or 4 greatest of all time have really good numbers, but
no, even the 260. That's a lot of all-time great catchers didn't hit that great. So I think it fits right in with some of the other guys we're going to hear tonight. And like I said, Gary Carter was heavily considered on my list. He just didn't make it. Nobody else had Carter, did they?
Nope.
No.
I did not. Again, I'm like you. I considered Gary, but
He was one of the first. He was one of the first 5 guys I wrote down when I was just writing down the list of guys I wanted to research. All right. Anything else you want to add, Drew?
Nope, that's it.
All right. So I guess we'll move to Wade. Wade, who do you think is the third greatest catcher of all time?
well, I don't like the Yankees. I really don't. But
I know where you're going.
I put Yogi Berra as number 3.
as did I.
As did I. And I fucking hate the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm not a
Yankee
number
fan
4. I was going with him and Gary Carter back.
There's just so much good stuff to look at. It's just, I told Alex when we were talking about catchers, might have been today, I don't remember.
Yeah, that was when we were waiting on Biggie.
Yeah, like he's the Bill Russell of baseball. He was a really good player that played on this all-time great team way back in the fucking day, and they won every year, and he was a big part of it, if not the main part of it.
He's a 10-time champion,
There we go.
3-time MVP.
Yeah, 3 MVPs.
Is he like 18-time All-Star?
18-time All-Star, yes, with career averages of 285, 358 homers, and 1,430 RBIs.
Yeah, that's just nasty. And
And
he threw
over
out
2,000 hits. And
He threw out 50% of the people that ran on him. Now, part of that is due to the era.
Mm-hmm.
They even said in some of the articles I read that he didn't necessarily have a terrific arm. He had an okay arm, but he was very smart and quick at getting the ball out. But I believe he threw out, it was like 49% maybe, or 50%, which is like one of the highest ever, if not the highest ever. I can't quite remember. Some of that is due to when he played and how many people actually ran on him. And, you know, like every sport, things change over time and things evolve and people get better. But still a crazy number. I mean, you're considered really good if you throw out like 37% right now. Like, you're really good.
Yeah, it was 49%.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
was it Roy Campanella that has the highest one?
Yeah, it's like 57.
57.
Yeah, something
That's
crazy.
crazy.
But again, it's short career because he played in the Negro League to start and then MLB. And like you said, the era.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did a lot of stuff on that caught stealing percentage and stuff, and
all the older guys' percentages are like
way high.
It's- yeah.
There's something weird going on there.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like Chamberlain and Russell getting 24 rebounds a game. That's not
Yeah.
going to happen in today's NBA. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're really. I mean, we made fun of a lot of the '60s players in the NBA. We're talking about a guy from the '40s.
Right.
But the MLB's been around since the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's
exactly.
so crazy.
No,
Some of these baseball players we're talking about like back in like 1920s and 10s and 30s. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, the obvious one, Babe Ruth.
Right.
I mean, there's some pitchers that you could throw
Yeah.
from like the
Cy
literally
Young.
like 1900. Like
yeah.
But anyway, we'll get there when we get there. But Yogi Berra, I thought, was a very good third pick, and he's an iconic guy on top
Sure.
of.
And it's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's one of the most like popular players. Maybe probably ever.
Well, I guess this is the way I thought of it. If Yogi Berra did the things he did, even just 20 years later, he'd be one on this list, and we wouldn't even consider it anybody else. But since it was so stinking early,
Right.
that's why he's 3 on my list.
And who he was playing with.
That is true.
He was
Yes.
put on the most dominant MLB dynasty probably ever.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah.
And the entire
Yeah.
team was stacked, and I'm not joking when I say he's the Bill Russell of baseball. It's almost an exact comparison. And like they were all-time great players, but they were on these insane teams, and just led to all the success, and all the great players around them and great coaches assisted them and their legacy and their numbers, and it was just a perfect.
Well,
mess.
I'll put it to you this way: he comes in the league as a rookie and does not win, but then he wins a championship, misses a year, and then wins 5 straight. So he wins one, doesn't win one, and then wins 5 straight. So in the first 7 years of his career, or in the first 8 years of his career, he wins 6 championships.
Saddles, yeah.
And then it's back and forth for the rest of his career, essentially. He goes a couple years without one, he wins one. He goes a year without one, he wins one. Like it's crazy. Like it's hard to even imagine that long of dominance. Anyway, so there's Yogi Berra. So that's everybody's number 3 but Ray's, correct?
Yeah.
So Ray, who was your number 3?
Mr. Pug Rodriguez.
All right.
Ooh, Pudge. Yeah.
Well, Pudge Rodriguez is number 1 on my list.
He's also
he's number 1 on mine.
He's number 1 on mine.
Yep, me too.
Wow.
So Ray,
You really spilled the fucking beans there, Ray.
yeah.
Well, except for my number 1.
No, boy. Here we go. I love Ray surprises.
So would you like to talk about Pudge a little there?
Let's see. His caught stealing, which you told me about, and Wade said to go to Google to look up, is at 45.68, which I thought was a pretty good, even though I didn't know what the stat was. He's a Hall of Famer. The 13-time Gold Glove was pretty fucking awesome.
Yep.
Home runs 311. RBIs are pretty outstanding. And when I was watching baseball, I remember him and what was it? Roberto. Who was he playing with?
Alomar with the Indians?
Was he with the
Texas?
Rangers?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, and he's with Roberto Alomar Jr.?
Or whether Rafael Palmeiro.
Oh, Rafael Palmeiro and him were
yeah.
playing in Texas
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
That's- And I remember they were pretty good, nice little duo, hitting wise. And Pug was an outstanding, catcher behind the plate. So, I mean, unlike you guys are some baseball aficionados, and I probably like basketball. Remember the 90s, and so I'm just going with what I see right here with old Ivan.
Well, I'll say this. Ivan had himself a nice career. Like you said, 296 batting average with 311 homers, 1332 RBIs. He has 13 Gold Gloves, 7-time Silver Slugger. So he was, 13 years he was the best fielder at his position, and 7 years he was the best hitter at his position. That's pretty nice. He's got an MVP. He's got a championship. He's a 14-time All-Star. He's obviously in the Hall of Fame. Pudge pretty much did, and like he had an absolute freaking cannon for an arm.
Most people say he's the greatest catcher behind the plate at throwing people out ever.
Yeah,
Like
the things that I read were him 1, bench 2, Yachty 3.
Mhm.
I read lists where they were all 3 of those guys are like in the top 5. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know every pitcher seemed to love throwing to Pudge. That Marlins team he won a championship with, like they had no business winning a championship.
No.
He
Is that the Sheffield team?
maybe Sheffield was on the Marlins.
Yeah, Sheffield was on the Marlins. Yeah, it was Sheffield was there. Renteria was there.
Was there. Yeah.
Luis Gonzalez.
Luis Gonzalez. Mike Lowell was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of guys that were really young at the time and then became stars later in their careers.
Yeah.
But their pitching staff was not impressive at all. It never even became.
They have like Jamie Moyer or something, or
Kevin Brown was their ace.
is it Kevin Brown?
But I don't remember who was there after him, to be honest.
I was thinking of like one guy that was pretty good, but it was probably Brown. But yeah, with Pudge, what I always think of is his offensive numbers and ability would get him into the Hall of Fame by themselves, and then you throw in the fact that he might be the greatest defensive catcher on top of it. I feel like if it's him or Bench, or it has to be number 1. Like in my opinion, obviously everyone has different opinions, but
I just wanted to point out his MVP season. It's so insane to me. Okay, he batted .332. A catcher batting .332 with a .356 on base percentage and a .558 slug. So that leads him to a .914 OPS. That's really, really nice. But even his raw stats, he had 35 home runs, drove in 113. He stole 25 bases. The catcher stole 25 bases.
Yeah.
He scored 116 runs. He had 200 hits. Like,
well,
It was amazing.
another thing to kind of pile on, his durability and ability to stay behind the plate and still be a dominant defensive catcher for like almost pretty much 20 straight years, with like a lot of like Joe Mauer and Buster Posey both had to quit playing catcher to extend their career after like year 8. He was doing it for another decade after that, and still dominant behind the plate, and still a pretty decent hitter later into his career. Like he
21 years.
And like there at the end, I think he was like, the Nationals.
Yeah.
And he was still considered. People still didn't run on him, and he was still considered one of the best defensive catchers in the league, and could lead your pitching staff. Like,
He led baseball in caught stealing percentage, which is throwing out base runners, 8 times in his career, 5 in a row at one point. So 5 straight years he threw out the highest percentage of runners in baseball. 51, 57, 56, 55, 49, 60. 60%.
that's nasty.
51. Like, those are some pretty impressive numbers. His second year in the league, he threw out 52%. Anyway, awkward silence there. Sorry. All right. Does anybody else have anything to add about old Pudge before we move on?
No.
We all think he's the GOAT, and one of us thinks he's a third grade ball. He's a badass.
He's on the list.
Yeah, he is.
He's
All
going
right.
down.
So that everybody has their number 3 gone. Almost all of us have our number 1 gone. So I guess we'll start with number 2 here. Uncle Doug, who's your number 2?
Johnny Bench.
He's also my number 2.
Mine as well.
He's mine as well.
Ray?
My number 2 is Yogi Berra.
Oh,
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so we've already talked about. So let's talk about Johnny Bench.
Do you not have Johnny Bench on your list?
I do.
Okay, so
he's your number one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're
So we don't have him at 2, and you have him at 1. I know a lot of people that think Johnny Bench is the greatest catcher of all time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also an old Reds fan, so I had a bias pick. So
Yeah.
you can make a pretty good argument for Johnny Bench. I'm on Team Pudge, but you can definitely make an argument for Johnny Bench.
Well, I mean, Hall of Fame, 14 All-Stars, 10 Gold Gloves, 2 MVPs, 2 World Series.
Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, 2,000 hits, 389 homers.
Well, I mean, I think like some of his prime numbers, he was hitting like almost 50 home runs a year, wasn't he? Didn't he have some years like in the high 40s? Like he was just flat out one of the best hitters in all of baseball for a while.
Yeah,
He had a season of 45, led the league. Season of 40, led the league. Those are his 2 biggest seasons.
Okay, so 40s. That for any position is crazy. You're a catcher doing that? That's almost unheard of territory.
In 1970, he won the MVP, batting .293 with a .345 on base, a .587 slug, which gives him a .932 OPS, so similar to Pudge's in his MVP year, with 45 home runs, 148 RBIs. He only stole 5 bases and still 25. He scored 97 runs and had 177 hits, 35 doubles. I mean, very, very impressive. He's also, again, a guy that's a great defender. He has 10 Gold Gloves. The captain of the Big Red Machine.
Yeah.
And
This is not great radio, but one of the things he was remembered for is the Johnny Bench Challenge. You know what I'm talking about?
the baseballs.
Where he can hold 7 baseballs.
Yeah.
That's how big his hands were.
In one hand.
Yeah. 7
That
baseballs.
one in his hand. It's literally just dangling.
Like, I don't understand that. That is weird.
He would put them between his fingers to start off.
Huge hands.
And then he would start fitting them in between the balls, and he could hold them all in his hand. But then here's another one, okay? At the beginning of the season, he would take his catcher's mitt and unlace it and take all the stuffing out of it and then lace it back up because he felt like it made it so he couldn't apply proper tags and hold on to the ball when he held the stuffing in it. So he caught for 19 years without stuffing in his catcher's mitt.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
How in the hell do you keep your hand healthy doing that?
I don't know. There's got to be some trick to it. I don't know.
Like, he's got to be the most I can't talk. Hand-eye coordinated motherfucker ever to, like, catch it in the web every time. Because that
No way.
is insane to try and catch those 90-some-odd pitches over and over and over again with just the leather between your hand and the
He's
ball.
obviously an alien. Did you see that fucking picture?
Well, 19 years and 162
That's
games a
insane.
year. You can't tell me one time.
Imagine
it didn't
7
come with a hand.
baseballs? No.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
just my little league game. There'd be once a game it hit my palm. I'm like, gosh dang,
Not
I'm
only
out
that-
here in like second base.
Not only that, but he's catching breaking balls.
Right.
So the balls are moving. It's not like he's just catching fastball after fastball. Like, you're talking curveball, slider, screwball, whatever,
Sure. Knuckleball.
knuckleball, sinker, whatever. These balls are moving and dancing. He's not just catching straight fastballs like we are in Little League or whatever.
I'll be honest. I don't think I could hold more than 2 baseballs in my hand. I don't know if I could do that. I have tiny
I
hands.
could get 3, but I wouldn't even guarantee 4.
7 is just nuts.
My hands are the same size as my wife's. My hands are tiny. Like, I'm a 29-year-old child. Like, look at these little mittens. Just, these are 7 baseballs.
I mean,
That's the size.
I was going to bring that up too, Uncle Doug.
Yeah.
It's a stupid impressive.
Did you say he played 19 years too?
It's 17. I was off. It's 17 years, but
Still.
yeah. That's 2,158 games of no padding in the catcher's glove.
That makes my
Man,
knees
that's
hurt
just
thinking
crazy.
about it too.
But at a
Because-
certain point, is
yeah.
that just dumb?
Well,
Like-
his reasoning is that he felt he could stay healthier and help his team win more if he wasn't getting run over at the plate. Because, this was back when we could run over the catcher,
Right.
and it happened a lot more routinely. So he did not stand in front of the plate on plays in the plate. He stood in the field of play and used swipe tags like a second or third baseman. So that's why he wanted the stuffing out of his glove, and so because if you have a catcher's mitt with all stuffed up, if you make a swipe tag, a lot of times you kick the ball out.
Right.
Because catchers tag with two hands to keep the ball in most of the time. So he took the padding out, so it was a lot limper, like a regular glove, and he could keep the ball in it. That was his reasoning behind it, anyway. But still, it seems kind of insane.
Yeah.
I'd be willing, or not willing. I've wondered, like, what does his hand, or did his hand function after his career was over?
Right.
Like, was his left
Was it
hand
all
just like useless?
beat to nothing?
Because I mean, a lot of pitchers can't throw a ball after a couple years after their retirement. Like, their shoulders just are completely shot. If you're catching 17 years worth of baseballs, I think that's rough anyway. But then you take the padding out of your glove to do it. Like,
yeah, that's
Maybe there's like some little trick he was doing that we're just not knowing. Like, because I just find this insane. Like I'm just gonna break my hand over and over just so I can swipe at people. Like, there's no way he didn't like break bones constantly or do something insane to his hand like every single year.
Maybe that's
Like-
why it was so big, because it didn't heal right and it just kind of splashed out.
Just kind of kept
bust all those
extending.
fingers
Yeah.
and stretched it out. Something. That was just crazy.
That is crazy. I don't know. How.
well, I will say this: Johnny Bench might be the toughest player we've talked about so far, because that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so is that
Yeah.
everybody? Do you have nobody left to talk about?
We
No.
only have 4
Nope.
catchers to negotiate down to
Yeah,
3.
that's everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we all
I brought
we had
the
a slightly
only-
different order, but we had the same guys
We've got-
except for Gary Carter.
We just
Yeah.
got to talk about Carter
Which
and Yogi.
is not a bad choice.
No, Carter's a Hall of Fame
He's a good
catcher, one of
choice.
the greatest of all time.
Maybe throw out a couple other guys that we considered. I mentioned Roy Campanella earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He was 11-time All-Star, won 3 MVPs
Wow.
and a World Series. Now, again, it's harder to compare him because some of his stuff, he didn't play his whole career in the MLB. Part of it was in the Negro League. Some of the stuff I was reading, people talk about a lot about Josh Gibson
Mm-hmm.
being one of the greatest catching hitters of all time. But again, all his stuff pretty much, except for the last little bit, would have been in the Negro Leagues. Couple of modern guys, Buster Posey and Yachty. Had to get Yachty out there. My Cardinal.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, I think he's definitely in the upper
Right.
tier, without a doubt.
I looked into Carlton Fisk.
Yep, Colton Fisk was another one I talked about. Another 11-time All-Star. 3 Silver Sluggers, Golden Glove. Yeah, we were talking about Golden Gloves. Pudge had 13. Bench has 10. Yachty's third on the list with 9.
Yeah, Yachty's
Well, the new thing that
Definitely upper tier
MLB's done,
defensively.
what was it, 2011, Dad, when they started the Platinum Glove thing?
Right.
How many, I'm talking about Pudge, how many do you think he could have had if
Yeah.
he's
Because since 2011, they've given out
a Platinum
11
Glove?
Platinum Gloves, which it's the best fielder among the Gold Glove winners.
In each league.
Yachty's got 4.
Oh, damn.
Nolan Arenado's got 5.
He is a beast.
And then there's 2 other guys. Yachty won 2, another guy won 1, Yachty won 2 more, another guy won 1, and Arenado's got the last 5.
I wonder who would be the other person to win it.
I can look it up real quick.
Or is that Simmons was a badass
That's one
shortstop
of them.
for a while.
Yeah.
Simmons. I think
Alderton.
Simmons is one of them.
Yeah,
Alderton?
Alderton Simmons from, I think he's in Anaheim now.
He was with the Braves for a while.
Yeah,
he was
I
really
think
good.
he might have been one of them.
He was a badass fielder.
Anthony Rizzo in 2016.
Oh, and Rizzo got one.
Rizzo, really?
The first baseman, really?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, Simmons got that one.
Yeah.
And in the American League, it's kind of spread out. Adrian Beltre got 2 years. Then Machado got one. Then Alex Gordon got one. Then Lindor. And then Matt Chapman got 2. Alex Gordon got another one. So American League's been spread out a little bit more. But yeah, Arenado's won them all since 2017.
I mean, he is a badass at third base. So. But
we talk about how many Gold Gloves. Mike Piazza had 10 Silver Sluggers.
Mike
If you wanna
Piazza,
talk
I'm
hitters,
really surprised
hitting
Mike
catchers.
Piazza didn't make anybody's list.
I swapped him
Yeah.
off mine. He was my 3 for a while.
I
Yeah,
thought about it, but it didn't happen.
Piazza came off for Berra. That's where it happened for me.
I mean, Piazza was such a great hitter. I mean,
he was.
308, 427 home runs, 2,100 hits. I mean,
His home. He has the most home runs by a catcher of all time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Piazza. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he was.
And he was like drafted like the 30th round or something.
Oh God.
Let me look here. I'm trying to find it. He was drafted in the 62nd round of the 1988 draft
God.
Went on to be.
out of Miami-Dade College.
Wow.
He didn't get any D1 scholarships, and was drafted in the 62nd round, and then all of a sudden ended up at a Hall of Fame catcher. That's
Not only that, but there for a couple of years in the early 2000s, him and like Jeter and a couple other guys were like the face of baseball. With him being in the Mets and they go to the World Series and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
gets a bat thrown at him.
Yeah. Part of me wishes he just would have whooped Roger Clemens' ass. But
Yeah. Well, he hit 40 home runs twice in his career.
he's one of those guys. If he
He hit 30 home runs 9 times in his
I'd say
career.
if he doesn't play catcher and he could focus more on hitting and play like first base or something, he's probably a 500 home run guy maybe. His career's probably extended. His knees don't go out as fast. I mean, he doesn't probably miss as many games. Catchers miss little chunks of games throughout the season for rest. Saves his knees, saves other body parts. I mean, just
Yeah. He hit 427 to begin with, so
Yeah.
hitting 73 more home runs, it's not a ridiculous thing to say.
how many RBIs did he end up with?
Hold on. 1335.
It's kind of lower than I thought it would be, to be honest. But
He played in a lot of shitty teams for a while in his career.
yeah. But yeah. Well, did anyone think about Joe Mauer? Joe Mauer was an MVP was it once or twice?
He won an MVP. I think he won a batting title.
Yeah.
But again, like you said earlier, he quit playing catcher after 6 or 7 years, I think.
Yeah, well, I think he started having, was it injuries? And they moved him to DH and first, a little off and on there, and then he was
Because he was like their franchise player, and they wanted to.
definitely. Yeah, because there for a while, they had him and remember Johan Santana,
Yeah,
And then
and
they both,
Justin Morneau.
and then all three died at the same time.
He's got an MVP. He's got 5 Silver Sluggers. He's got 3 Gold Gloves and 3 batting titles.
Ooh,
Wow.
maybe we should have considered Joe Mauer.
His career batting average is 306.
That's the best one of everyone we've talked about, isn't it?
No one else has been in
Yep.
the threes.
No one else said
Pudge is
3.
right below 3. And
Piazza was 308.
was he?
Piazza's was really?
Yeah, that's what I have down. It's
Oh.
308.
Maybe. Damn, Mike. Woo.
I didn't really. I closed his page to open up Mauer's. So, but Piazza's offense isn't the question.
Right.
No. He,
Not at all.
I mean, he's probably the. Would you think him or Johnny Bench is better offensively?
Piazza?
Yeah.
I think Piazza's better offensively.
Yeah, better average, more home runs, more hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can probably safely say that Piazza's probably the greatest offensive catcher ever. But I feel like we're forgetting somebody, a big one.
Let's see. I have a Thurman Munson.
Yeah, but didn't Munson's career get ended early for an injury? I looked Munson up, I'm pretty sure.
Just keep reading out the ones you got, right? That's just the names.
Joe Torre.
Oh, Joe Torre. That's
Yeah,
not a bad one.
Torre.
Lance Parrish.
Don't know that one.
No.
And I think we covered the other ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Munson played 11 years. He won an MVP, won 2 titles, 3 Gold Gloves, Rookie of the Year. Career average of 292. His batting numbers are similar to Mauer's. He's 10 points lower on the batting average, but they both hit just over 100 home runs for their career.
Yeah.
So Munson's averaging around 10 home runs a year for his career.
So, Drew, how do you feel about Buster Posey?
Yachty's better than Buster Posey.
I think so.
No doubt. Yachty played on either side of Buster Posey's career.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And it's not like he switched positions. People still aren't running on Yachty this year.
No, Yachty defensively, I don't think he'll ever be a problem.
No.
He's an absolute monster. His pickoff move at first is so cool to watch, too. I think.
Yeah, if you're a first baseman playing with him, you better pay attention.
Yeah, Yachty whips that bitch over there. He don't mess around. He's a boss. I mean,
Yeah.
Buster Posey was. I mean, he was.
No, I'm not saying
the
Buster
man
Posey
for a
wasn't
while.
good, but he got, oh my gosh, because the Giants were winning and
Yeah, he was there for what, 2 or 3 World Series?
three. I think they won one his rookie year.
Probably.
Yeah, he's got 3 World Series. He's got an MVP. He's got a batting title, 5 Silver Sluggers, a Gold Glove, Rookie of the Year.
Mm.
His
he
career
doesn't-
batting average is 302.
He doesn't have very great longevity though, right? As far as
He's already
career totals.
12 years.
What does career totals look like though? Like his numbers.
158 home runs.
Ooh.
I gotta scroll down. Sorry.
only 1,500 hits.
Yeah.
700 and some RBIs.
Yeah. Let's see. Those are
729 RBIs.
so. Even everyone else smashes him in career totals.
I just think I was alive for that. So
Yeah.
all these other catchers, I mean, I wasn't really, but everyone overhyped Buster Posey. I'm like, good.
Well,
I feel
I
like he
like
was
Buster
great
Posey.
for,
I think he is a really cool. I think he should make the Hall. But
Oh yeah.
they did the same thing with a lot of those Giants. Everybody thought Pablo Sandoval was the best third baseman in baseball for a few years, and
Everybody's
he's
in
ass.
love with the Giants.
Yeah,
They fell in love with the Giants at the beginning of the 2010s
yeah.
because they
Yeah.
went. They
Tim
went
They were
Tim
good as a
Lincecum.
unit.
Right,
They really were.
Yeah, they won
They
the
thought
World
Tim
Series
Lincecum was going to
2 years.
win 10 Cy Youngs.
Well, he
Be
won
this-
2, didn't he?
Yeah,
and
he
then
did.
just
He disappeared.
just
And then Madison Bumgarner came along.
Well, it
Unfortunately,
was
he didn't
Matt
quite
Cain before that. It was Matt
Right.
Cain, then it was Tim Lincecum, and then it was Bumgarner.
Yeah.
yeah, it
which
was
they were
kinda-
good during their times, but they didn't last. Like they all just kind of.
Lincecum went from best pitcher in baseball to a 6 ERA in 3 years. I don't understand what happened.
Here's the thing. Well, I understand what happened. He threw 400 innings 3 straight seasons because they were throwing him on 3 days rest to get into the playoffs, and then they won World Series, and he was throwing deep. He was throwing on 3 days rest through the World Series and throwing asinine innings. He threw games 1, 3, and 7 in that one World Series and won the World Series MVP or whatever. But
Yeah.
and then at the end of the season, they're like, well, he threw some ridiculous amount of innings this year, and the next year he come out and was dog shit. And everybody's like, what happened to Mad Bum? What happened to Mad Bum? I'm like, his arm's dead.
Right. Yeah. You wore it out.
Don't get me wrong, I'm sure he'd take that because he got a World Series.
Right.
But I mean, when you do that to a guy, you gotta tell him, hey man, we're not really gonna use you until a third of the way through the season.
Which
we're gonna
one are you
extend your
talking
rest. Bumgarner.
Oh, we were talking about Lincecum.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Bumgarner.
We've been talking about Tim Lincecum, how he was he won 2 straight Cy Youngs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the man, at least in the NL, and then just
And he was
it
a man
over.
like that first World Series, and then he
Yeah.
just disappeared.
he was really, really bad. He stuck around for a couple years.
Yeah.
But when it got bad super quick, and he was
Okay,
done.
here, I got it for you. Ready? He goes an ERA 2, 2, 3, 2, and then 5. And then a couple years later, he has an ERA of 9.
Ooh.
So he has what, four really good years, and then his career's over.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, he's got a couple years in here where he's all right. He's an ERA in the 4s. But those 4 years where he was good, he was really, really good.
Yeah, he was winning Cy Youngs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would. Yeah,
Which I think that happens to pitchers more than anything. I think, let's see, during my lifetime, I haven't really seen one pitcher that's really dominated throughout their whole. You see spurts of pitchers that dominate for 3 or 4 years, and then they just.
That's why it's crazy to think about a lot of guys back in the day. Some of those guys' longevity. Nolan Ryan was a freak.
Oh yeah.
He was throwing 98 when he was 48.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm not even being sarcastic. It was, and some of those guys from way, way back in the day throwing 5,000 innings. They're way back in the day, but I don't know. It's just nuts.
Here's Tim Lincecum This is 4 straight years. Those 4 years we were talking about. This is strikeout numbers. 265 leads the league. 261 leads the league. 231 leads the league. 220. And then...
Remember we were talking about Joe Mauer earlier? Johan Santana did the same thing. He was like the best pitcher maybe in the AL for a couple years, and then it was just over after a couple years. It's weird that it happened to Mauer and Posey, both like in their primes, but because it was like Santana was the man for a little while because he was there with Mauer, and you said Morneau was the first baseman.
Yeah. Santana won 3 ERA titles.
Yeah, like he was the man, and then it was just over after a handful of years.
I think we're gonna see that. They're not probably pitching the most, but some players are like that. They just dominate for like 3 or 4 years, and then they just disappear. Like
I just think some guys' arm just can't be a starter for that long.
No, I just think
Their arm.
everybody, no matter whether you're me, you, Tim Lincecum, Roger Clemens, I just think your arm has so many throws in it. And when you hit that, you're done.
You're done. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do. I can rest it. I can have surgery, whatever it is. Once you hit that, it's over. And it might be different for everybody, but you have that many shots in the gun, and then when it's over, it's over. You know, Sandy Koufax, you talk about a dominant run. He was virtually unhittable for like 9 straight seasons, and then his career was just over.
Yeah, done.
And he can't lift his arm. Like, now. Can't lift it. Like, that's insane. Like, we're talking about these numbers that these guys were doing. Let's pull up.
well, I think some of the pitchers now, some of the pitchers start in relief, and then they come out, so they've already got pitches thrown on their arms. They're not coming straight out of college as starters, and they already got wear and tear on their body. So maybe that's probably the reason why we don't see them last in 15, 10 years anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's really the same way, and we had this conversation in basketball too about guys sitting out all the time and missing games. And back in the day, you know, everyone played all the time.
Listen to this, guys. This is Sandy Koufax, 5 straight years. The last 5 years of his career, actually. ERA, 254, 188, 174, 204, 173. Career's over.
Oh, man.
His last year of his career, he won 27 games, had an ERA of 1.73. Okay? Led the league in both. Started 41 games.
Nice.
Led the league. Had 27 complete games. Led the league.
Wow.
Threw 5 shutouts. Led the league. Threw 323 innings to lead the league.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And had 317 strikeouts to lead the league.
It's also a lot.
And his arm is shot. He
Yeah.
can't play baseball no more.
Wow.
My arm's starting to hurt just thinking about throwing this many times. Holy smokes.
Man.
He had over 300 strikeouts 3 times in his career.
I want to know what Nolan Ryan's arm was made out of.
Yeah.
That
he
dude's
plays
a
just
freak.
so strong.
He has like 5,700 strikeouts or something stupid like that.
Yeah, and when he was younger, he could throw the ball over 100 miles an hour.
Well, they said like with today's technology, he'd throw up to like 100 and what was it, 8 or 9 or something. Like, I don't know. He has some absurd amount of strikeouts.
He has 5,714 strikeouts.
Damn, I'm
The
good.
most all time.
Yeah.
He also has 2,795 walks, which is also the most all time.
Well, I mean,
That's the Brett Favre stuff right there.
Well, he pitched for 27 years. So
Doesn't he have like the most no-hitters?
Yeah, it's like 7 or 8, I think.
well, he played from 66 all the way to 93.
And the sad part is, well, Grandpa loves Nolan Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Grandpa's the one that got me in on him when I was younger, and he used to babysit me and talk to me about all these crazy players. And Grandpa was always telling me, well, imagine how many games he would have won if he didn't play for all those terrible teams. Or if he got to play for the Yankees for 20 years.
And what's the iconic video you always see of Nolan Ryan?
Robin
Punching the
Ventura.
White Sox player. Yeah.
I mean, how old was he then? He just bulldogged that guy and took him.
yeah, he's
with
like
the Rangers.
40 years old when he
He's
beats
with
up
the
Robin
Rangers.
Ventura.
Yeah.
He's old with the Rangers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he
was
doesn't.
having none
His
of it.
first season with the Rangers, he's 42 years old.
Yeah.
So
He beat the shit out of like a 25-year-old.
he puts him in a headlock and just beats him in the face.
Yeah. I mean, a professional athlete. It's not like some
Yeah.
puny little guy.
Well, you ever seen it before, Drew?
Who's probably like
I've seen that
25.
once.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just bulldogged him and took him down.
I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here, but we're not really talking about catchers.
Right.
That is
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
By the way, Nolan Ryan has 222 complete games.
Don't worry. We'll talk more about that bad boy when we talk about pitchers.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we need
We'll
to
be
get
back.
rid of a catcher. So we're looking at Pudge, Yogi, Gary Carter, and Johnny Bench.
Well, we all had Pudge.
Yeah.
So
We all had Johnny Bench as well. didn't
Right. Well, I'd say those two are a lock.
Okay, so it's between Yogi and the old Carter man.
As we all turn, look at Drew.
I mean, Carter isn't a bad pick.
No, he's not a bad pick.
we? No, he's one of the greatest catchers of all time.
Yeah,
no contest.
We could go that route if we want to, just let's be honest. Who likes the Yankees?
I can't stand the Yankees.
And and a lot of Yogi's accolades are because he's a Yankee. Not saying he didn't deserve any of them, but there was some unfair treatment back then towards the Yankees.
Yes, there was. Does anybody in this room know who Joe Gordon is?
Is he the guy that beat Ted Williams out for the MVP?
Yep. Who's the second baseman for the Yankees? Ted Williams won the Triple Crown. Joe Gordon was the MVP.
Yep.
Stuff like that unfortunately happens in all sports.
Yeah, like Shaq getting one MVP. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I went with Yogi because just the super crazy accolades and stuff. But
I wanted to change it up, and I thought Carter would be a decent.
no, it's
Oh,
good.
no, he's a good choice.
So I want you to think about this, guys.
Honestly, I'd be cool with Piazza.
This I know I know it's not catchers, but I'm gonna say this. Ted Williams batted .406. 400.
Yeah.
406. Hit 37 home runs. So not only did he bat .406, he also had 37 home runs, 120 RBIs. He was walked 147 times that season. Okay? Does not win the MVP.
Jeez.
Joe DiMaggio does.
Ah, is that the year he had his hit streak?
56-game hit streak.
Okay.
Next season, Ted's like, what I got to do to win the MVP? So he goes out and wins the Triple Crown again. 356 with 36 home runs, 137 RBIs. Also walked 145 times. Leads the league in runs, home runs, RBIs, walks, and batting average. Does he win the MVP? No, Joe Gordon does.
And
So what did Gordon do?
Yeah, what did Gordon do? Let's see what.
I mean, DiMaggio, at least I
another all-time great.
hit on what
Yeah.
probably that season was, but I don't
He,
know if it's Joe
he batted 322 with 18 home runs and 103 RBIs.
See, this is why I said Yogi Berra is Bill Russell. Because there's just a bunch of
I
bullshit.
say we pick my boy Gary, or we go with Mike Piazza.
I love Piazza. Maybe we should just put Piazza down. But see what I mean? Like Wilt Chamberlain, that dirty turd averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds and lost to Bill Russell.
Or maybe we need to take a well, like you said, Joe Mauer switched from catcher pretty early.
Yeah. So are we turning on Yogi Berra on live podcasting?
Sounds like it.
For really no reason, just because we just felt like it?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. But we talked about some pretty crazy MVP voting in basketball. But if anybody can explain that to me, I'd like to hear what they have to say.
I think baseball's going to get us the best MVP vote.
Yeah.
Some football will be interesting, but I think baseball will be.
Well, let's just pull them up head to head real quick, just so we can look at it.
Wait, no, which ones? Yogi and Carter?
Yeah. If I can. Where the hell is it?
Well, you also got to factor in era of play,
Oh yeah.
which I'm sure people love after our basketball episodes.
Oh yeah, but it's even more in this. I mean, when you get people playing 100 years apart, which could happen.
Well, it's like they've proven and made documentaries about some of this stuff. Like players back in the early 1900s and stuff, some of the best pitchers in the league back then were throwing as hard as kids do in high school now, and that's what people were hitting.
Well, the baseball wasn't the same very early. Real early on, like when Ty Cobb was hitting, the baseball wasn't the same.
Well, and you got to remember, until the league was integrated, you had half the good players playing in MLB and half the good players playing in another league.
So we have the whole
That's true,
ABA
too.
situation again.
And real early in the 1900s, there wasn't breaking balls.
Yeah, people were just lobbing the ball, and they would almost never use relievers back in the day. If you started the game, they would make you finish the game.
Yeah.
That's why
So the hitting stats were padded big time.
That's why it was so regular. Of like when like Ty Cobb and all those guys, like they hit like over 400, or their career average is like 370 or something insane. Because I don't know. You got people just lobbing the ball in there because their arm's falling off after their 218th pitch, and just because they don't want to use a reliever, so they don't. Like they never use relievers.
They had like
unless,
3-man rotations.
Emergencies.
Like it was brutal to be a pitcher back then.
I bet back then, like your arm hurt halfway through the season. And I bet you were throwing 75 miles an hour sometimes just because your arm hurt.
You had nothing left.
Yeah, you're lobbing it in there for Babe Ruth to spank it over the wall. And just be like, all right, cool.
All right, so here they are head to head. Okay, they played about 30 years apart. Carter and Yogi, I mean. Carter played about a little over 100 more games and has like 700 more plate appearances. Yogi has like 150 more runs, about 60 more hits. Gary Carter has 50 more doubles. Yogi has a handful more triples. Yogi has about 34 more home runs, about 200 more RBIs. Gary Carter walked about 150 more times. Here's a big one though. Gary Carter struck out 500 more times.
Oh.
And Yogi has a batting average of 22 points higher than Gary Carter. On base percentage is about 13 points difference for Yogi. And then slugging percentage is 50 points high. Yeah. And then OPS is 6 points higher. And then let's see if they I don't even know if we have defensive stats for Yogi, but I can look. No, it doesn't look like it.
From the sounds of it, Yogi kind of beat him out statistically.
Yeah, Yogi beats him
Sounds like
statistically, and we don't nobody compares to Yogi when it comes to accolades.
No, just a 10 championship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should have just went with fucking Piazza.
Although I do say this, Yogi Berra's stats go down in the playoffs. Gary Carter's go up.
Well, that's good.
Now, Gary Carter didn't play that many games in the playoffs. Only 30 in his career.
Fight the more.
But one played for multiple franchises. The other one played for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean, Gary Carter played for the Expos for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I think of Gary Carter, that's what I think of as the Expos.
Yeah, I do too. I kind of forget he played for the Mets. Phil would be pissed at me for saying that.
It's easy to forget the Mets.
The Mets. Talking about the Mets, they got Mike Piazza, bro.
The Mets are the number one team in the National League right now.
Are they?
All right, well, decision time, guys.
And we all look at Drew again.
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Only because he struck out 500 more times.
Okay.
I guess we can let Yogi Berra.
We just shit on Yogi for a long time. They were still gonna.
Well, you guys weren't cracking.
I was trying to help you out. I led the charge of shitting on Yogi. I was trying to give you support. I also kind of want to squeeze in Mike Piazza, but it's fine.
So it sounds like we've come to a decision.
Yeah.
And the decision is the 3 greatest catchers of all time, according to Sports the NEMO Way, are Yogi Berra, Johnny Bench, and Pudge Rodriguez.
Yep.
So that will end our catchers portion of this episode and lead us into trivia. And we all are scoreless at this point because this is our first one. So, Drew, are you ready?
Yes. Let me grab my board real quick. All right, here we go. Maybe. All right. Who is the only pitcher to win 3 Major League World Series in 3 different decades?
Can you repeat that, Drew?
Who is the only pitcher to win 3 Major League World Series in 3 different decades?
Wow. 3 World Series in 3 decades. That's intense. I mean, how many pitchers have won 3 World Series? There's a feat in itself. But then to do it in 3 different decades? It's a good question, Drew.
It's a good question, but it's not obscure.
I'll say I don't know the answer to it, but it's a good question. That's rough.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer, damn it.
All right, I wrote something down.
I don't even have a good guess. That's my part. That sucks. All right, I got a guess.
Yep, I'm good.
All right, let's hear him.
You got one, Uncle Doug?
Yeah.
I put Tom Seaver.
Okay.
I put Cy Young.
All right.
Clemens.
Okay.
I also said Clemens.
It is Jim Palmer.
Oh, well, that's a Hall of Famer. I mean,
Yeah.
There's so many options in baseball. Only 150 years. You know, it's fine.
no points. Who would like to go next?
I'll go ahead and go. All right. Well, the podcasters don't know this, but before the episode started, I was just bitching about war on the couch for a while. So I have it pulled up. I made it into a question. In the top 100 all time in war, there are 5 active players. Pujols is one. Trout is another. Who's the other 3?
Are these everybody or just position players?
Everybody.
Okay. Pujols and Trout. We got to name 3 more.
Yep.
Huh. Interesting.
Huh.
Crap.
Again, like Wade said, there's so many options.
Huh. This is rough.
I've got 2 down so far, but that doesn't mean anything.
Ray, you got any ideas, buddy?
Not a damn one.
No, just write some names down. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
This is tough.
It is. Like, I'm really struggling to think here.
I've got 3 yeses there.
All right.
There's no way all 3 of them are right.
Never know. Never know.
I mean, I'd take it.
Did you say just position players or pitchers too?
Not everybody.
Okay. I got 3 then.
Okay. Alberta, you were last.
Sorry. I'm going. Crap. All right, I got it. I'm not even gonna be close.
Okay.
I said Max Scherzer, Nolan Arenado, and Bryce Harper.
Okay.
I said Cabrera, Arenado, and Kershaw.
Okay.
I said Arenado and then nobody else.
Okay.
I said Joey Votto,
Okay.
Rich Hill, and Molina.
Okay. I'm trying to think. You didn't get any. You got one. Who'd you say?
Arenado.
Oh, no. It's Kershaw, Verlander, and Greinke. All pitchers.
Yeah. Well, I just tried to name guys that played forever because it's a cumulative stat.
Carrera's a good guess, but since he's DH so much, I think his WAR overall, he's like 112 or something. And Votto, even though he's older, I don't think he really started playing a lot until like his mid-20s. So
Gotcha.
I don't think he's accumulated like as many games as you'd think.
Gotcha. All pitchers. I wouldn't have thought that. I should have thought of Verlander though. He's like 41. He's I should have thought of him.
I should have thought of Verlander.
Kershaw's
too.
been like the best pitcher in the league for like a decade.
I thought sure.
Yeah, and
maybe.
Greinke's really old too, and so
I bet he's like 17, 18 years maybe.
I mean, he can't throw the ball over 85 anymore.
I mean, he was. Yeah, he won a Cy Young with the Royals in like the early 2000s.
Yeah,
Like,
as a blazing fastball guy.
yeah.
Now he's winning with junk. That was a good question, Wade. I like that. No points again. We're all tied for first place.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That means no one's losing.
That's true. Anybody want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. Since we're talking about catchers, I went with the caught stealing percentage. Among active players, Yachty is number 1. Who's number 2? And this is career, not just this season.
Oh crap!
I'm sorry. Can you say it one more time?
Yeah. Caught stealing percentage
Yes.
among active catchers. Right
Active
now.
catchers. Good.
Yes. Yachty's number 1. It's like 440. I don't know. Who's number 2?
Hmm.
Gotta make sure I'm spelling this right.
All right.
Just a guess. Not even a good one. Oh, I thought he made that.
Yeah, on the tennis game. Talking about the tennis
Yep.
game.
I thought he's up what? One love?
Yeah.
15 love. Come on, Joker.
Is that everybody? Everybody got an answer?
Yeah, I just
Yeah, I
don't want to
got
see this
one.
guy's name, to be completely honest. I'm trying to Google it, but my phone won't work, so. Who gives a fuck? All right.
Well, I thought of a guy really fast off the top of my head, and I was like, it's got to be him. And then I talked myself out of it, so if it's that guy, I'll be pissed. But I said Christian Vasquez.
Said Salvador Perez.
The guy from the Phillies, JT Rollo.
That's who I talked myself out of.
Yeah.
You guys are going to rock me on these trivia questions because I don't know shit.
It's all right.
It's actually Roberto Perez from Pittsburgh.
Oh.
No, when you said yours, Drew, I was like, oh crap, I forgot about him. So
I just thought he's played a long time, and I knew he's got a can.
he does. Yeah.
Who'd you say?
Salvador Perez for the Royals.
Yeah. He just set the home run record in a season for catchers last year.
Yeah, he did. Playing for a crap team.
Kind of came out of nowhere, too.
Yeah, he was just the Royals were terrible, and he just kind of started hitting homers at the end of the season. I was like, what the?
Yep. So Ray, is that you, buddy?
Yeah. And I don't know how easy this one will be, but we'll see. Let's see. Babe Ruth played through what years in baseball?
So what was the final year of his career? Is that what you want to know?
No, the beginning year, and the final year.
Okay, I'll just write some shit down. Oh, baby, baby.
Pure guess.
The Sultan of SWAT.
Indeed.
The Great Bambino.
Just watched that movie this morning with Zane.
Sandlot.
Yep.
All right.
Yes,
I gotta
sir.
guess. That's a lousy one.
Yeah, just a guess.
Yeah, I have no idea how many years he played, so it's just like throwing years down. All right, I said 1910 through 1933.
I said 1913 to 1932.
I said 1906 to 1923.
It's in 1914 to 1935.
Oh my God. The correct answer is 1914 to 1935.
Let's go.
You're kidding. Good job, bitch.
Damn it, Drew! You always get me.
That's funny.
That is great.
That's funny.
Pure, dumb, adulterated luck.
You got with Joe Smith during basketball. I deserve this win.
Well, Drew is now taking the lead in baseball trivia.
Right, go Drew.
All right, this is me, right?
That's insane.
It is. Who was the first player in Major League Baseball history
Oh, fuck.
to have their number retired?
Boys, there's some fucking barn burners here. Jesus.
There's no way I'm getting lucky twice.
Hold on, I might have actually legit guess this time.
I don't know when this started. I don't fucking know.
Baseball it started so early.
And so many all-time greats played early. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just said Babe Ruth came in 1914. Like, that's over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So, everybody got an answer yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, what you got?
I said Cy Young.
I said Ty Cobb.
I said Gehrig.
And I went Jackie Robinson.
Correct answer is Lou Gehrig.
Ooh.
It's because of the famous speech when he was
Yeah.
dying.
Yep.
Well, that lasted long. It's all right.
Well, after the first week of baseball trivia, the tallies are as follows. Tied for last place with 0 points is Wade, Alex, and Ray. And tied for first place with 1 point is Drew and Doug. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. So thank you for tuning in to this week's episode about Major League Baseball catchers. Please tune in next week for our baseball episode on first baseman, the 3 greatest first basemen of all time. And thanks for tuning in to Sports the NEMO Way.